The GOAT has officially put his weight on the scales in Colorado. Democratic socialism hasn't had this kind of momentum since Bernie was born, and that momentum is manifesting in real change and real wins for the left, in ways that makes not only MAGA shake in their boots, but the entirety of the mainstream establishment. They didn't expect for a message from an outside politician to resonate, but they hadn't heard of Melat Kiros.
Every single achievement we have ever had in this country was not because the government woke up and decided to do the right thing. It's because we pushed for it and we fought for it. Because organizers and dreamers saw the world as it was and refused to accept it. Because we know what we have to do to build a better world. We know that we need to get universal health care. We know that we need to get housing first. We know that we need universal child care and elder care. We know that we have to defund and prosecute and abolish ICE. We know that we have to stop sending our taxpayer dollars abroad to commit genocide against innocent people.
As much as it pains me to accept that Bernie is never going to be president, I'm happy that we're finally seeing some intergenerational solidarity on the left. While the establishment clings to power, we are taking advantage of the fact that people are begging for new voices.
I went undercover at a radical leftist meeting so I can show America what's really going on. This was supposed to be a rally, but then 3 different venues canceled because the speakers were too extreme. Since I was able to infiltrate their little get-together, I decided to go straight to the source. It was time to ask everyone about their most radical beliefs.
I don't think childcare should cost more than a mortgage.
Can you believe he said that on camera?
I don't think in the richest, most powerful country in the world that we should be letting people go homeless.
Fox News, I hope you're getting this.
I believe we should have health care for everybody.
Whoa, enough with the extreme rhetoric.
I don't think my tax dollars should go to sending my neighbors to concentration camps.
What else would taxes be used for? Come on.
I just think that our representatives should be accountable to the people and not to corporations.
Doesn't this chick know that corporations are people too?
America deserves to go way beyond the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, and get Medicare for all.
Just more violent rhetoric from the extreme left.
The more they try to alienate folks like Melat as being radical, the more it becomes obvious that the establishment is out of touch. Bernie was pretty much the only senator for decades with his finger on the pulse, and as a result, the rest of the corpo Dems are just as upset about the rise of the Democratic Socialists. You'll remember, Melat had her Democratic opponent call around to all of the venues where she was supposed to have her events and have them canceled, because nothing says democratic like trying to stop this message from getting out.
That it's important for us to remember who was responsible for canceling all the venues for the rally this past weekend. And those were the owners of the building, right? This was the oligarchy. The staff at each of these venues, at the Ogden, at the Stanley Marketplace, at Real Works, all of them were so excited to host us and to have this event. And they were the ones that were told that the event had to be canceled.
But it turns out that trying to silence your opponent instead of trying to, provide for the people backfires spectacularly, especially considering DeGette has been in office since 1997 and Melat was born in 1997. But these numbers don't lie. 41% to DeGette's 36%. And when you see the meteoric rise that Melat has been enjoying, it gets even crazier. This is reporting from Zeteo. The results are an enormous shift from a March poll showing DeGette leading Kiros 40% to 7%. Since then, there has evidently been a 38-point swing towards Kiros. We haven't seen numbers like that since, I dare to say it, Zoran Mamdani. Times have changed on the establishment. It isn't the 2000s anymore. Their dark, shadowy money is about as clear as 4K nowadays, and folks can smell the stink of PAC money a mile away. Where DeGette is damn near drowning in donations from massive corporations and AIPAC, Melat is following the steps of her peers across the country and doing the obvious and easy thing that proves immediately that she's about that life, not about that money. DeGette has received $25,000 in corporate PAC money, in addition to the $500,000 she's received from AIPAC. Kiros, meanwhile, has pledged not to accept any corporate PAC donations. There is something brewing across this country, and it's boiling over fast. It's not just Melat Kiros that is coming out of nowhere to seriously upset the Democratic establishment. It's happening in New York, too, with Mamdani's backed candidates. It's happening in Michigan and Florida, here in Texas. As this user puts it, there's no pretending that it's not actually happening. If DSA pulls off this upset in New York, with Daraliza beating out Espaillat, then every single seat in America is up for grabs by the DSA. Y'all better believe that there are upset, ruffled feathers coming. There's no doubt in my mind that the Democratic Socialist floodgates have opened, and you can tell from the desperate attempts that the Dems are taking to try to smear our candidates. Graham Plattner is the perfect example of this routine of dredging up old posts, but they're also doing it in Daraliza's campaign in New York. And I'm sorry, but these elitist morons are so far from the vibe they can't even read the room. I voted for Kamala, but she's not a queen. I mean, don't get me wrong. Do you think it's disqualifying for anyone to say this? If you do, then you're completely misunderstanding what people want from a party that's supposed to be fighting fascism right now. That's why there is a flock of progressives, or straight up, outright Democratic Socialists, seriously pushing the Dems to be less centrists. And they're making waves and earning major endorsements, like with Ro Khanna backing Elijah Manley in Florida to de-seat Debbie Wasserman Schultz, or rather stop her from taking the only seat that's now available for black candidates. And Haley Stevens, who enjoys millions and millions of AIPAC and Corpo PAC money, is not only looking like she's going to lose her Senate race against Abdul Al-Sayed, but she's also looking like she might lose her current seat to a different Democratic Socialist, Aisha Faruqi, which would just be a perfect 1-2 punch. Exactly what this country needs right now. Because I think all of us want our hometowns to feel like New York City is feeling. Maybe the biggest accomplishment of Mamdani's socialist takeover of the city is showing people that a better world is possible. One where people realize that we, the people, have real power.
How you feel about Donald Trump? I fucking hate that man. I really, really hate that man. And honestly, I'm glad you asked, because this shit right here, like this energy, like the revolution starts in New York. Son, there's 4 million of us out here right now, and we're just the ones that didn't go to work. Like, we should all not go to work and fucking take this country back. And you know what? It starts with the goddamn New York Knicks.
That, my friends, is called class consciousness. You know how much energy has to be in the streets for a spontaneous general strike conversation to form like this? I used to dream of days like these, and if you did too, then join us here on US Democratic Socialists. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.